The Jamaican election is right around the corner, and the People's National Party want Jamaicans to give them back the government they held for more than 18 years. This is The Night Show with Tim Douglas. The People's National Party took control of the Jamaican government in 1972 after winning about 56% of the votes. They maintained control until 1983 when the Jamaica Labour Party won with about 89% of the votes. However, by 1989, the PNP took control and remained in power until 2007. That power was lost again in 2011. They won back control but lost it again in 2016. In total, the PNP controlled Jamaica for more than 20 years. Now, the PNP is trying to revise history to make it look like the country was functional under their leadership. During the recent social debate, they talk about a lot of programs that they started, but never mention the result of those programs, whether they were successful or they were failures.
People need to understand again is that under the PNP administration, we revolutionized the telecom sector. We freed it up. We brought cell phones. We dismantled the monopoly at the time of telecommunications of Jamaica. And we made sure that people had options in terms of having telecoms. Another thing that we did, because ordinary Jamaicans could not actually buy a car, and we revolutionized the used car system where you can have taximen, etc., going through. And we created the Universal Access Fund. That fund had money to do the kind of broadband, and it had the money to actually put the access points in place. What has happened to it? Why hasn't it happened? The PNP was putting those plans across the country. What has happened to it under the JLP?
All they did was criticize the efforts of the JLP government and make unnecessary smart remarks.
There are simple facts that cannot continue to escape us. Marketing and PR won't change reality. In fact, COVID and the other pandemic from which we suffer, crime and violence, have only made it clearer that what is needed now is a set of hands, hearts and minds that place you at the center of all that we do. We deliberately designed the development of our manifesto to allow you to participate, causing the greatest, widest level of consultation ever in the history of this country, so that each citizen can participate in the design of the blueprint to develop your Jamaica. We use this opportunity to speak to the person behind the eyes and the ears watching and listening to these presentations, to say we understand that the Jamaican family has never been at greater risk. We use this opportunity to say that we appreciate the struggles that you have been going through, and that 58 years hence since political independence, it is time for that turbocharge to take you forward so that each man, each woman, each tertiary student, each professional, the police, the nurses, and other public servants and civil servants can have in the land of their birth all of the opportunities to give them the realignment of their future compared to what has happened over the last 55 months. We have signed not only a code of conduct, but our own work ethic, referred to earlier by Dr. Campbell, and that we say to each of you, we have your hearts, your minds, and your future at the center of all that we do. It is time, put simply, for us to build your Jamaica.
Here's the thing, people. Facts don't lie. The truth is in the data, which is in the public domain. And that is why voters need to look at the facts before they get persuaded by well-orchestrated stories that are used to mislead voters. That's why we're going to look at the world's perspective of the Jamaican economy under the JLP and under the PNP. Let's start with Jamaica's debt. Government debt in Jamaica was uncontrollable due to mismanagement and corruption. Under the leadership of the PNP, Jamaica had a bad track record with the IMF, which the current administration inherited in 2016. Jamaica had a weak economy in 2007 and attempted to improve the fiscal standing of the country. But after another IMF-supported program that went off track in 2011, the country was on the verge of an economic meltdown. With no access to international capital markets, Jamaica once again turned to the IMF in spring of 2013 for financial rescue. With a weak track record of reform and the lack of significant budget financing from international and development partners, Jamaica needed a second debt exchange and a primary surplus of 7.5% of GDP to help stabilize the economy and address long-standing structural challenges left by the failures of the PNP. The country reached a tipping point and the public had enough. The Economic Program Oversight Committee was formed so that stakeholders from the private sector, unions, government, academia, and the media could come together to hold the government accountable for its reform commitments and fiscal discipline under the reform program. Under the 2013 Extended Fund Facility and subsequently the 2016 Precautionary Standby Arrangement, which was signed with the new JLP administration, the Jamaican authorities over the past 6 years, with strong capacity building support from international financial institutions and other partners, made significant progress in stabilizing the economy and improving social outcomes. As a result, fiscal and external sustainability was restored, and Jamaica achieved a level of unprecedented fiscal discipline, delivering a primary surplus in excess of 7% of GDP for 6 consecutive years. As a result, public debt is down to below 100% of GDP for the first time since 2000 and 2001. This shows that Jamaica thrived under JLP leadership.
My Jamaican family, we're in challenging times, maybe the most challenging times that we've ever experienced as a nation. But I want you to know that the Jamaica Labour Party, led by Andrew Michael Holness, is here for you. We've been working hard to take us all safely through what is the most serious pandemic that has hit the world in 100 years. And we know you've been seeing the efforts. These times, they require leadership. We have a strong leader. They require unity. Unlike others, we have a unified party. They require clarity and certainty. Unlike others, we have a plan. We have set out a 10-point COVID recovery plan that sets a clear vision for the short, medium, and long-term efforts we need to make to recover stronger, to build back our economy, to build back the strength of our societies, to advance our digital agenda, to ensure that we're able to move forward in financial inclusion, diversifying our economy, and ensuring that we have a transformed education system so our children have the best start. We've come to you with our list of achievements, not to boast or to pretend that there isn't more work to do, but because we know that it's important to distinguish ourselves from the other party. They're great at talk, they're great at promises, they're great at telling you what they think you want to hear. But we're saying, say no to PNP. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party on September the 3rd. Exercise your democratic right. The EOJ has taken extensive efforts to make sure you can do it safely.
The JLP message is absolutely clear. Do not reverse course and give the PNP another great economy to destroy. This is not the time to experiment with inexperienced leaders. Majority of the population approve of the job that the JLP has done leading the Jamaican people. Jamaica needs a government that demonstrates long-term discipline and realistic approach to its problems. Jamaica do not need unattainable promises. It needs a strong leader who will make the hard decisions of prioritizing projects and not one who wants to please everyone with bread and butter dreams. We tried the PNP a lot more than we bargained for. So now it's time to give the JLP the chance to finish what they started, and that is a thriving economy, ongoing social development programs in education, housing and development, infrastructure, and defense. Don't be fooled by the lavish promises. I saw them steer. They love tell people what they think them want hear. So what more you do is this: watch, listen, research, decide, and vote. No make them fool you with the manifesto.
Of the 130,000 housing units to be constructed over 5 years, the PNP is proposing to allocate 3,000 of them for market and street vendors. Teachers, transport operators, including taxi drivers, workers in the entertainment as well as those in the tourism industry, will have a special allocation of 5,000 units each. $5 billion have also been identified for over 5 years to refresh infrastructure in housing schemes. Rent-to-own housing schemes will also be developed, with members of the security forces being given priority. Under the program, persons will initially rent the property with a percentage of the rent going towards a down payment. After the down payment is achieved, the rent becomes the mortgage. As for residents in inner-city communities, a $400,000 grant will be provided for home improvement with a special focus on sewage treatment facilities. And with crime and violence still a major problem, the PNP says its mandate is to dramatically reduce crime over the next 5 years. How? The size of the police force will be increased. Police will be able to patrol for 24 hours as the number of functional vehicles will be tripled within the first year. Mobile police stations will also be set up. All government buildings will be equipped with closed-circuit television to feed into the Jamaica Eye system. Private homes and businesses will get an incentive if they participate in the Jamaica Eye program. Incentives too for police officers who recover guns, as well as an increase to rewards through Crime Stop. Over 170 police stations will get Wi-Fi, and the Coast Guard will become more competent through additional boats, helicopters, drones, and satellite surveillance technology. A border rapid response unit will also be established. The Sexual Offenders Registry will be made public, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions strengthened, as well as partnerships with the Dispute Resolution Foundation and the Peace Management Initiative. The PNP also has plans for other sectors including micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, education and healthcare.
Me tell you where people want to do for we, when we can see what the current government is doing for us. So area, vote your conscience and forget about party loyalty. Remember, a party loyalty allow a whole heap of people to dead in the 80s and force Jamaica to sell off natural resources. Remember, this is about the future of Jamaica. Jamaica is modernizing, and they modernize under the JLP. Do not allow yourself to fall victim to the PNP promises. If you agree with me, post your comments below. If you don't agree with me, post your comments below. Thank you for watching.